Hello, everybody. I am so excited for this video. I hope that you are nice and relaxed and having a great day so far. I wanted to start doing something new this year, and since I just got back into reading, I thought it'd be really fun to start doing monthly reading wrap-ups. Now we'll see how long this will last. I'm currently in a good reading flow state, but sometimes you go in and out, so there might be times where I'm not reading anything, there might be times where I'm reading a lot. We'll just have to kind of play it by ear. But for January, I read six books, and I wanted to kind of go over my dog just let out a big sigh. I wanted to kind of go over them and give a little review of them. Hopefully I can remember what I rated them all, but let's get into it. I do want to say that reading is so subjective, and what I like or dislike you might feel the opposite way about, so please take everything I say with a grain of salt because it is so personal to everyone, and this is all just for fun and not to be taken super seriously. But anyway, the first book that I finished in January is Daydream. It's hard to trace cursive. Daydream by Hannah Grace. Now, you may be thinking, what do you mean you finished this in January? You have multiple videos on your channel with this in it over the past 4 months, and you are so deeply correct. Here's what happened. I bought this book in October of last year maybe, and I read the first 2/3 of it in 3 days. I read it so fast, and then I just stopped, which is what happens with me all the time. I start a book and then in the middle of it just stop kind of for no reason. I just don't feel like reading anymore, which is terrible. I know, it's terrible. So I did pick it up again in January and I finished it. So thank God. I'm very proud of myself for actually finishing it. A lot of the times the big problem with my habit of starting and stopping and then attempting to start again is that I don't remember what happened, but I remembered for the most part what was going on here. So it wasn't difficult to pick back up. This is the third book in the Icebreaker, or is it called Maple Hills series? Maybe, I don't know. Icebreaker is the first book. This is the third one. I own the second book, but I have not read it. So I went from 1 to 3, as you do sometimes. These are they're interconnected, but they're kind of all standalones to where they don't need to be read in order. So if you want to skip around, it's totally fine. But while reading it, I did wish that I had read the second one because the couple from the second book, they're both in this book pretty heavily. So I found myself wishing I knew more of their background. So I will say that. Icebreaker was the first book and it was so good. Loved it. Gave it 4 stars. Great book. This one I also gave 4 stars. It was so good. One thing I love about Hannah Grace's writing is how fast-paced it is. It's just you never feel like, oh my god, I want this scene to end, or like, how are we still only on the same day, how it's only been a week. Like, things progress very quickly. It was very easy to read because things kept going on that were different, if any of this makes sense. I don't want to spoil anything about the plot, especially because it's the third book in a series. I can read. Okay, so the main characters are Henry, and Hallie. And it's kind of like a brief overview of the plot. Hallie, they're both in college. Hallie is trying to write a book, but she finds herself stuck because she doesn't have a lot of life experiences that she thinks she needs in order to write a book. And Henry is on the hockey team, and he offers to take Hallie out on dates and kind of give her all the experiences that she is craving in exchange for her helping him out with a class that he's struggling in. And so this book kind of explores the relationship between these two characters. And it's super cute. I love Henry. He is an angel. They're super cute together. I love their relationship. I really have nothing negative to say about this book. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I do recommend this series if you're looking for a cute romance series. College hockey players. Very enjoyable. Easy to read, easy to get through, fast paced. So, yeah. Okay. So, 4 stars for Daydream. The next book I read is a book full of short horror stories, and I've never read horror before, so this was like an interesting thing to read for the first time. And this one is called The White Guy Dies First. And as the back says, there are 13 scary stories, 13 authors of color, 13 times we survived the first kill. So I loved the premise for this. Thought it was a really good first foray into horror. And Terry J. Benton Walker. It says edited by. I believe he's the one that kind of gathered all of the stories from all the different authors, and he himself has a short story in here as well. So he edited it and he wrote one. So there's him and then 12 other authors. And this was hard to rate because there were 13 different short stories, and they're each by a different author, so different styles of writing, different feelings about each short story. So some of them I absolutely loved. I would have given it 5 stars. some of them I didn't love as much and would have given maybe like 3. So I think overall I'd give it 3.5 to 4 stars. I don't know, it's so hard with things like that because I really enjoyed some and then there were others that I didn't love as much. Let's see, so each short story had its own, like, kind of overall theme. So, the first one was about killer clowns, and then the second one, the theme was nature's revenge. The third one had paranormal elements. The fourth one was about cannibals. That one was crazy. The occult was the theme of the fifth one. Slasher was the sixth. Southern Gothic was the next one. And then there was one about found media. The next was post-apocalyptic survival. There was one theme with the theme of body horror. And then home invasion. There was demonic possession, and then a haunted house. Okay, I can say my favorite ones. Let's see, I really liked. Okay, I think. Okay, how should I do this? How should I do this? I think maybe my favorite one was probably the slasher one, which was called Docile Girls by Chloe Gong. That one was so good. It was so good. I loved everything about that short story. Gosh, I can't remember some of these now. I really liked the post-apocalyptic survival one. It was called Heaven by Adiba Gardar. I'm really sorry if I'm mispronouncing these. I did really like the Haunted House one, which was by the editor, Terry J. Benton Walker. That one was called The Road to Hell. Oh, I also really liked the demonic possession one, which was called Hell is Other Demons by Karen Strong. I don't remember what 2 of these were about. Oh, the paranormal one was also really good. That was called The Golden Dragon by Kendare Blake. Okay, so that was 1, 2. That one was good too. The Protege by Lamar Giles, which was the theme of the occult. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I just named 7 that I really enjoyed. I don't remember 1, 2 of them, so I don't remember if I liked them or not. Let me see. I can go read the first page of each and jog my memory. Oh, that one was really interesting. The one that was found media is called Everything's Coming Up Roses by Tiffany D. Jackson. That one was super interesting, I will say. It was really a fun, like, progression of events. What was this one? Let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, that one was also okay. So I think on Goodreads I gave it 3 stars, but looking back on it, I think I would give it 4 actually. So maybe I'll update that because I I named 7 and 8 that I really liked. I also really liked that one. Okay. Maybe I'm terrible at reviewing things because I'm going back to being like, oh yeah, I did really like that. That was so good. There was maybe like 3 that I didn't enjoy as much, but I think they were all still really interesting, and I enjoyed reading them. Just there were some that I thought were extremely well written and had really great plots. So yeah, hard to accurately rate something when there are like some that outshine others, because then it's like, well, how do I find a balance between that? But overall, I really enjoyed this book. There was a lot of funny moments mixed in with the horror, and I would definitely recommend, if you haven't read horror before. I hadn't either, and I thought it was a really great read, so maybe a nice little foray into it for you as well if you're looking to get into horror. But even if you don't like horror, I think this would still be a good thing to read. But anyway, that's that book. My dog is snoring, and I really hope that it's not too loud. Oh, maybe she's getting quieter now. Well, I can wake her up a little bit. Okay, we are 20 minutes in, and I have only reviewed 2 of the 6 books, so let's kick it into gear. Okay. The next book I read. Did I say that was the order that I'm doing this in? I'm doing it in the order of how I read them in January. Anyway, this is so chaotic. This is a John Green novel called Turtles, all the way down. This I read in one singular day. There were things I liked and things I didn't like. I would give this 3.5 stars. I think I wish the ending had been different. Maybe then I would have bumped it up to 4. But it was like a realistic ending, I will say. Like, I understand why it ended how it did, but you know, I don't want to spoil anything, but I prefer different kinds of endings anyway. This is about a girl named Asa who is in high school and she has OCD, and her friend Daisy are trying to find this rich, is he a millionaire? Is he a billionaire? This rich billionaire who just disappeared one day, and he is being currently investigated by like the FBI or something for like tax fraud or something. I don't remember what it was for, but Asa used to be friends with the rich billionaire's son, so she kind of reconnects with him in order to start looking for him, his father. And so it kind of goes into, you know, the search for the dad, her reconnecting with the son, all while being in high school and kind of exploring how her life is as someone who struggles with pretty severe OCD. And I thought that this was extremely well written. I have read a couple other John Green books, and I wasn't a huge fan of them, I will say. I found, like, in The Fault in Our Stars, to be fair, I read it when I was in junior high, but for me personally, it was way more descriptive, and it felt kind of slower and boring to me. In some parts of it, I did prefer the movie, but also I did watch the movie first, so that tends to cloud my judgment, because then I'm just comparing it to the movie, so it might have been unfair. So this one was really well paced. It was much faster, super easy to read and follow along, and I really enjoyed it. The writing was great, the plot was great. I thought it did such a good job of detailing her headspace and the way that she thinks and the way that OCD is impacting her life, and like how much of a role it plays in her life. And I know that John Green, I'm pretty sure, has struggled with OCD himself, so that definitely explains why this was so well written and why it was such a good representation of OCD, I felt like. But honestly, I would definitely recommend this book. It was really good. I would change the ending, but that's just me personally. But as far as everything else goes, I thought it was great. I really enjoyed the read. So I'm glad that I had this John Green book to read. It kind of like changed my perception, my opinion of his writing in a good way. But yeah, so I read this in one day, and then they did make a movie based on this book. So I read this and then watched the movie directly after reading it, which was wild because they did make some big changes in the movie, but I still thought it was good. And I enjoyed the movie. But I think the movie didn't go, in my opinion, it didn't show as much of, it didn't show how much OCD was really impacting her life as it did in the book. Like, you could really see just like how often she would like have these thought spirals, and how often she would, you know, think about bacteria in the way that it really like affected her relationships. And I feel like in the movie it did go into that a bit, but it wasn't kind of as consuming as it was in the book. But anyway, that's that. Next, I read this play called Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf by Edward Albee. I will be so honest, I did not really enjoy this. I believe I gave it 3 stars on Goodreads. It's the span of one night, and it is about a married couple who invites another married couple over after they both attended a like faculty party at the college that they teach at. So it's like a middle-aged couple invites a younger couple over that are new to the college, and it's like 2 a.m. when this starts. they come over for drinks, and it's just like the wildest conversations happen in this play. Like, the main couple is Martha and George. They're the middle-aged couple. We're at their house in this play, and they're kind of insane, like genuinely insane. They just get into a lot of arguments. They say the most out-of-pocket things. They like are constantly nagging each other and like making fun of each other to their guest, this younger couple that's new to the college, and it's just like, why is all of this happening? It's super interesting. Like, it was really interesting to read because you're like, why are they saying these things? What's happening? What's the point of all this? Like, something bigger is going on here, right? And there was like so the reason that I picked this up was because on the back it says that there is a revelation that has shocked audiences for years on the back, and I was like, okay, well, I want to know what that is. I'll be so honest, I did not understand when I read it what was happening. So like, the revelation happened, but I didn't realize what the revelation meant. So after I finished it, the first thing I did was like look up the play, and I was like, it was Afraid of Virginia Woolf meaning, and I had to have the internet explain to me what the revelation was because I did not clock it. And maybe that's my own fault. I feel like normally I can like understand what's going on in plays and novels, although plays it is harder to like really understand the theme and the meaning sometimes. So I did have to look it up, I'll be so honest. But then after I looked it up, it was extremely shocking, and I had to like go back. Although I did kind of guess whenever there was one part where something was introduced, and whenever it was first introduced, I was like, this is really suspicious. Like, I'm not buying this. But then, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to explain without giving anything away, which I don't want to because it is like kind of a big revelation if you were to actually ever read it. But I didn't really enjoy it. I was just kind of confused the whole time. Like, what's going on? What's happening? I don't get it. Why are they acting this way? So I don't know that I would necessarily recommend it. There are a lot of other plays that I prefer over this one, if I'm being honest. But I'm glad I've read it, if that makes sense at all. Anyway, that's that. We'll move on to the second to last thing I read in January. Is Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow. Hi friends. So it is me on a different day here to tell you that past me, the me that filmed the video you're currently watching, was deeply incorrect, and I didn't realize that two of the books that I was going to talk about I actually finished in early February. So I am jumping in here to give you a proper ending, and I will include the two books that I'm cutting out of this in the next monthly wrap-up. So whenever January ended, I was in the middle of reading Girl in Pieces. So I'll just leave you with knowing that this is my current read at the time, and I will have the review of it in my February reading wrap-up. So yikes for that. We're off to a great start with these reading wrap-ups already, clearly. Apologies for getting that mixed up, but hey, I caught it. And now there'll just be 2 more books to review in February. So I think that brought me to a total of 4 books that I read in January. Yes. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Yes, 4 books in January. And we'll see what I can grind out in February. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Sorry this was a bit chaotic. Hopefully it'll be a little smoother from here on out. But I hope you have a